The path to inner peace has been a journey of ups and downs for all of us. And sometimes it can feel like we researching for a distant shore when really the calm waters we seek are right beneath our feet. Today, I want to talk about how I discovered peace without religion. But before we dive into this topic, let me ask you a question that I often ponder myself. Are you seeking inner peace and tranquility in your life, but finding yourself drawn to the teachings of gurus who seem to have achieved it? I felt like there had to be more to spirituality than just going to church or reciting prayers. But I couldn't quite put my finger on what was missing. Then one day it hit me. I felt burned out, defeated, and hopeless, like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And that's when I had a breakdown. I felt empty and hopeless inside. I remember sitting in the dark in my room, literally no lights or sounds, just me in the darkness. I felt like I had nowhere to turn. So I started talking to that darkness, begging for help. And for the first time in my life, I spoke those words out loud. It's about connecting with something bigger than ourselves and recognizing the sacredness of life. For me, that connection comes from spending time in nature, practicing meditation, and engaging in meaningful conversations with others. We don't need to follow a particular religion or believe in a specific set of doctrines to connect with the divine. All we need is an open mind, a willingness to learn, and a desire to live a life that is true to ourselves. He had worked his way up the corporate ladder and achieved everything he had ever wanted. But despite his success, he was unhappy and unfulfilled. He had no hobbies or interests outside of work and felt isolated even though he was surrounded by people. When we worked together, he learned to take time for himself and connect with nature. There is a community of people out there who are on a similar journey to you. There is no right or wrong way to do this. It's about exploring different options and seeing what resonates with you. Whether it's through meditation, prayer, yoga, or simply spending time in nature, it's important to find practices that help you connect with yourself and the world around you. This journey is highly personal and unique to each individual. If this episode resonated with you, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments section. Your story matters. And if sharing your story matters to you as well, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, and I'll see you next time. What works for one person may not work for another. It's important to respect that and be open to exploring different options. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to finding peace. Reach out to others, share your story, and learn from their experiences. By letting go of the need for external rules and structures, we can tap into our own inner wisdom and intuition to guide us. Connecting with nature and other spiritual beings can also provide a sense of grounding and belonging. Ultimately, the path to inner peace is a personal one, and what works for one person may not work for another. But by embracing the unknown and staying open to new possibilities, we can find our own unique path to serenity and fulfillment. Remember that spirituality is a personal journey, and there is no right or wrong way to do it. Trust your intuition, honor your feelings, and live a life that is true to you. With an open mind and a willingness to learn, you can find the peace and fulfillment you're seeking. He started taking hikes and camping trips, and slowly began to feel more at peace with himself and his place in the world. I also try to live my life according to my own moral and ethical code, which I believe is guided by my intuition and inner wisdom. People from all walks of life have found peace and healing by connecting with their inner selves and the natural world around them. The ultimate goal is not to cling to life, but to be ready to embrace death. For it is in letting go of our attachment to life that we truly discover the art of living. These words remind us that sometimes we must let go of what we think we need in order to find the peace we seek. By releasing our attachment to specific beliefs, rituals, or outcomes, we open ourselves up to the possibility of discovering a deeper, more authentic way of living. They've learned to let go of the need to follow rigid rules and instead trust their own intuition and inner wisdom. God, if you're real, please show me something. Please send me a sign. I realized that I hadn't actually experienced any kind of profound connection with the divine. She had given up her career to raise her children, and now that they were grown up, she felt like she had nothing to offer the world. They have learned that spirituality is not about following rules or subscribing to a specific belief system. It is about living a life that is true to ourselves and honoring our connection to something bigger than ourselves. She was also struggling with her faith and no longer believed in the God she had been raised to worship. Through our work together, she learned to tap into her intuition and creativity and started a small business making handmade jewelry. She found joy and fulfillment in her work and developed a strong sense of purpose. It was like a weight had been lifted, and suddenly I felt a sense of calm wash over me. It was the most peaceful I'd felt in years. Sure, I prayed and asked for guidance, but I never really felt like I was talking to a real person. I could find God in the little things in life, in the beauty of nature, in the kindness of strangers, and in the love of my family and friends. I knew that I had been seeking God in the wrong places for most of my life. I am grateful for the lessons I've learned through my journey, and I continue to learn and grow every day. I thought that I needed to follow a set of rules and rituals to feel his presence, but I was wrong. I mean, I'd heard stories from others about their spiritual awakenings, and I longed for something similar. But for me, it was like there was a wall between me and whatever higher power I believed in. From renowned spiritual leaders to everyday people who have found their own paths to inner peace, we'll explore the common threads and unique insights that guide them along the way. Her or it, whatever we choose to call the divine, I didn't feel a close relationship with the God described in religious texts. I questioned how this God would judge me for my human experiences and emotions, and it seemed like there was no room for questions or doubts. So I kept struggling with these thoughts until I eventually stopped attending church and praying altogether. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. In this episode, we'll delve deep into the experiences and philosophies of various individuals who have embarked on their own journeys towards enlightenment and self-discovery. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just beginning to explore the realms of spirituality and wellness, join me on this enlightening journey where we'll uncover the secrets to finding inner peace. Don't forget to hit the like button so you never miss an update. Let's begin. As I got older, I started questioning some of the religious teachings I'd been following for most of my life. It wasn't that I disliked God, I simply didn't feel like I knew him for a while. I tried to ignore the emptiness I felt inside, but it just grew worse until everything in my life fell apart. When everything in my life fell apart, I realized that I needed to make a change or I wouldn't survive much longer. I didn't hear a booming voice or see a bright light, but in that moment, I felt something shift inside of me. At that moment, I realized that I didn't need to go to church, read scriptures, or pray to feel connected to something greater than myself. I learned that spirituality isn't about following a set of rules or attending religious services. These practices have helped me find a sense of peace and fulfillment that I have been searching for my whole life. In fact, I've realized that spirituality doesn't have to be complicated or exclusive. It can be simple and accessible to everyone. Through my work with others, I've seen firsthand how these principles can transform lives. For example, I worked with an executive who was struggling with anxiety and burnout. Another person I worked with was a stay-at-home mom who felt lost and purposeless. These are just two examples of the many people whose lives have been transformed by connecting with their inner selves and the natural world. So if you're feeling lost or disconnected, know that you're not alone. Ultimately, it's about finding what works best for you and what brings you the most peace. Finding peace without religion is a journey that can lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and the world around us. As we wrap up our discussion on finding peace without religion, I want to leave you with a quote from the renowned spiritual leader, Osho. Thank you for joining me on this episode of our podcast.